Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White were having a heated discussion at halftime.
Stephanie White, I'll say it again, you are a pure bum of a coach.
It looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before halftime.
Word in the street is Caitlin Clark told White to sit Kelsey Mitchell and Howard because they don't pass. Could be true. Caitlin went to tie her shoe.
The locker room door didn't just slam, it detonated. Boom. Just like that, whatever calm was left in Indiana went up in smoke. Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's biggest box office attraction, had finally hit her boiling point. Inside that room, voices weren't just raised, they were roaring. The temperature had been climbing for weeks, maybe months, and this was the eruption fans feared or secretly expected. Clark and head coach Stephanie White didn't just have a disagreement, this was a full-on collision. The kind that doesn't end in a handshake, the kind that rewrites a season. It wasn't about a single bad pass or one missed rotation. It was about control, about vision, about whether Indiana was building a contender or just wasting its brightest star. And just like that, the question echoing down the hall wasn't what's wrong with the Fever anymore. It was, is Caitlin Clark done with Indiana?
There were people at the game that have told me that this happened and they saw it.
All right, y'all, so I'm getting concerned. I'm getting concerned about Caitlin Clark's future with the Indiana Fever because it's not just that they're losing these games, it's the manner in which they're losing. It's the low shot attempts from Caitlin Clark. It's the low usage from Caitlin Clark. It's the having her in the corner, coming off these screens, getting the ball on the wing, and then her losing the basketball, keep getting the ball in these unfavorable positions. She is at her best when she's pushing it up the floor, coming off the screen with the Leah Boston. You're not even doing that anymore. It seems like the Indiana Fever aren't prioritizing Caitlin Clark's growth as a player, but what they're prioritizing is the system of basketball that Stephanie White has ran.
If you've ever had a boss who clearly didn't know what to do with your talent, do us a favor, tap that like button so we know we're not crazy. Because right now, the Indiana Fever have Caitlin Clark stuck in basketball purgatory, and fans are losing it. Clark's minutes are inconsistent. She's being used off the ball like she's a role player, and somehow she's getting benched while the team needs a spark. What are we doing here? You don't buy a Ferrari just to leave it parked in the driveway, but that's exactly how Stephanie White is treating the league's biggest star.
Stephanie White is not going to change. Stephanie White is not going to stop until her style of drag everyone down to their level basketball prevails.
As long as Stephanie White is here, we'll never see the true greatness that Caitlin Clark has within her. We'll never see it.
And fans have had enough. Free Caitlin isn't just a joke anymore. It's a movement. Social media is on fire. Fans are calling out the front office, the coaching staff, even the substitutions. There's a growing feeling that instead of elevating Clark, the Fever are slowly erasing her. What we're watching isn't just poor strategy, it's a masterclass in mismanagement. Inside that locker room, it wasn't just noise, it was a boiling point, finally spilling over. According to insiders, Caitlin Clark didn't hold back. She reportedly called out teammates for freezing her out on key possessions, pointed fingers at a stagnant offense, and even challenged Stephanie White's game plan head on. One source claimed she asked why Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard were allowed to hijack the offense while she got relegated to tying her shoes after dishing the ball off. Petty? Maybe, but also kind of true. This wasn't a tantrum. This was a superstar begging to be treated like one. And it's got fans wondering, is this fixable or has the damage already been done?
I think this is one of those things where it might be a turning point. And I think this could be a little bit of a weird one.
So let's make it interactive. What would you do if you were Caitlin? Stay loyal and wait for change, or start packing up your locker? Drop your answer in the comments below, or if you've already seen enough, type free CC and let's flood the algorithm with facts. Stephanie White isn't just coaching like Caitlin Clark's a problem. She's coaching like superstar talent is a problem. Her whole philosophy is no one is bigger than the system, and you can trace it back to that viral Luka Doncic take she dropped last year. Remember that? She actually said the Mavericks played better without Luka because the ball moved more. That same logic is now being applied to Clark, and it's unraveling Indiana's season. The idea sounds noble on paper. Teamwork, ball movement, equal touches. But in practice, it's like trying to run a Formula One car on a lawnmower engine. When you've got a transcendent player, you build the system around them. You don't ask them to shrink to fit your mold. But here we are watching Clark's minutes drop, her role shrink, and her spark dim. It's starting to feel less like a coaching decision and more like a coaching philosophy that doesn't believe in stars. And that's a problem when your entire franchise is one. It's one thing to disagree on coaching style. It's another when that style is dragging your team down on the court. Since the start of the season, Caitlin Clark's numbers have dipped, but not because she's regressed, it's because she's being misused. Her usage rate has dropped by nearly 20% compared to her rookie campaign. The offense is stiff, teammates seem out of sync, and Clark often looks more like a decoy than a leader. You can see the confusion every possession. No spacing, late screens, players crashing into the lane like they're running the wrong playbook. When Clark returned from her groin injury, it got worse. Stephanie White trotted out a new starting lineup, shuffled roles, and the Fever got smoked by the Valkyries in a 19-point loss. Clark had just 10 points and looked more uncomfortable than ever. This isn't just growing pains, it's a system that refuses to adapt. And every game she's asked to play off ball is another game where fans wonder if the Fever are wasting her prime. This isn't Stephanie White's first go-round with trying to force a square peg into a round offense. Before Indiana, she tried the same blueprint at Vanderbilt, emphasizing system over stars, ball movement over firepower. The result? A brutal 2-year stretch with back-to-back 7-win seasons. Players transferred out, fans tuned out, and the program stalled until she was eventually moved on. That same system is now playing out on a much bigger stage, with a generational star in Caitlin Clark caught in the crossfire. White preaches motion, unpredictability, and equal opportunity touches. Sounds nice until you watch it in action. What's supposed to look like a symphony ends up more like a garage band with no rhythm. She's so focused on proving the system works that she's willing to bench her best player to make a point. The problem is, WNBA games aren't about proving points, they're about winning. And when your blueprint already failed once, doubling down doesn't make you a visionary, it makes you stubborn. The fans, they've seen enough. Free Caitlin is trending under every Fever post. Refund demands are popping up like pop-ups in a bad browser. One fan straight up said, "Release our star or release our money back." And it's not just angry tweets anymore. This is turning into a full-blown movement. Sponsors are getting nervous. Broadcasters are suddenly awkward in post-game interviews, tiptoeing around every Stephanie White soundbite like they're defusing a bomb. Behind the scenes, insiders are whispering that some execs fear Clark could actually walk if this keeps up. Let that sink in. The WNBA's biggest draw might be done with the very team that built its marketing machine around her. Meanwhile, fans tuning in for highlight reels are getting reruns of mid-range bricks and awkward rotations. It's not just a disappointment, it's a bait and switch. People came for Clark's magic. What they're getting feels more like a disappearing act. And when fans feel betrayed, they don't just boo, they mobilize. So here's the real choice Indiana faces. Build around your generational star or watch her walk into a brighter future somewhere else. This isn't rocket science. Clark isn't demanding special treatment, she's demanding the ball. She's shown time and time again that when you let her lead, magic happens. But right now, the system isn't just slowing her down, it's slowly draining the joy out of her game. Imagine her fully unleashed, 25 points, 12 assists, national headlines every night, packed arenas chanting her name. That's not a fantasy, that's what's sitting right there waiting to happen if someone has the guts to hand her the keys. But if Indiana wants to keep directing a rerun, Clark won't stick around for the final season. So if you're as fired up about this as we are, show some love in the comments, drop Free Caitlin, hit that like button like it's a buzzer beater, and smash subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because this saga is far from over and the next chapter might just blow the roof off the league.